Champions Cup Sunday games. There are 4 games to round out the group stages of the Champions Cup. We should have a better idea of where the teams stand after the Saturday games, which aren't too far away. But for now, there are still teams alive. Munster's still alive. Saracens and Racing. Racing's through, but Saracens are still alive. Gloucester's still alive. Toulouse is through. It's only Montpellier and Connacht that are facing each other in a game where neither of them is going to make it. So that one's the only real dead rubber. There's still things to play for. Ospreys, I guess, can try and get a bit of pride back. And, everyone else is still kind of got things on the line. So it should be an interesting one on the Monday over here, but the Sunday. And, we'll see how things go. The first one, Munster against Ospreys. So Ospreys are out well and truly with none from 5. But Munster, with that record of 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses, are hanging on by the skin of their teeth. In all likelihood, they will not make it through. I think they need a bonus point win and then other teams to do them favours. Notably, they need Saracens to lose. Definitely, and I think Northampton and Gloucester losing would also be beneficial for them. So, is it Glasgow as well? It's going to have to be a minor miracle for Munster to make it. But, hey, in sports, you never know until it happens. So, they'll still be going out there. And even if they aren't going to make it, they'll still be trying to kind of sign off their campaign on a high note. And they've picked a team which is, it seems to be one which once they really go out and make a statement. You've got Stander, O'Donoghue and Omani in the back row. You've still got Conor Murray playing. Hanrahan keeps a hold of the number 10 jersey, but with Joey Carberry out for as long as he's going to be, that's just his jersey at the moment. And he's been doing, from what I've seen, which is like not limited, kind of limited, he's been doing a pretty solid effort. Conway's playing, Chris Farrell's playing, Haley's there at fullback. So, this is a squad which I think will look to go out and make a bit of a statement. Ospreys, like I mentioned, at this point in their season, a win anywhere would be nice. Away at Munster seems like a pretty tough ask. But again, they've not exactly just picked a bunch of second stringers. You've got Elman Jones playing in the second row, Lydiot and Tipperick in the back row, Mafufia still getting a spot at tight head, Nicky Smith's loose head, Fenter and Price are 9 and 10. Luke Morgan is on one of the wings. George North's in the centres. Dan Evans is at fullback. So it's a weird one with the Ospreys. I definitely haven't been following them close enough to know what the heck's going on, but there's certainly enough players in that squad to be performing better than they are. As a Blues fan in Super Rugby, I am very much familiar with a team which on paper looks better than it performs. So that seems to be where the Ospreys are this year. Away trip for them is going to be tough. No one's really given them a chance. Rugby Forecast algorithm has Munster by 23. The bookies have got Munster by 21. Either way, they're saying 3 tries or more, Munster should run away fairly comfortable winners with this one. As I said, even if their campaign does come to a close with this one, they should be able to finish on a high. Tough pull, that one, with Racing and Saracens in there as well. But I guess it's going to be a good experience for some of the guys as well, even if they go out. And you never know. Stranger things have happened, like I mentioned. The next one, Saracens against Racing, it's an interesting one because Saracens this year in Champions Cup have either kind of gone full bore and played a really good team, or they've switched out most of their first choice guys and sent out somewhat of a second string outfit. This is one of those times where they're still alive. They got 3 wins, 2 losses. They need a win to go through. I think a win's pretty much good enough. But yeah, if they lose, they're certainly going to be in deep trouble. So they need a win. And interestingly, with what's going on in the Premiership with them being docked points, it's probably no way they're going to qualify for the Champions Cup. There's news that potentially they could even just get another deduction of points if they can't reduce the salary cap by, I think it's the end of the month, which would see them essentially automatically relegated. So, from what I remember, there's a proviso that the Champions Cup winner automatically qualifies for the Champions Cup for the next year, for the next season. That might be the only way these guys are going to get through to the Champions Cup at this point, is to win the damn thing for another year. So maybe that's what they're going for with this. Either way, they're certainly putting out a strong team. Racing, who are already through to the knockout stages, obviously want to get themselves as high up the table as they can to get their seed ranking, as high as they can go. They gave Saracens a walloping in the opening round over in Paris, but that was one of those Saracens teams which was somewhat second string. You look at the Saracens team, Michael Vunipola, Jamie George, Vincent Koch front row, it's all international class. Etoje and Cruz second row again, all international. Ray Earl and Billy V in the back row, Spencer and Farrell 9 and 10, Barrett and Taylor in the midfield, Shagan and Maitland on the wings, and then Elliot Daly at fullback. So yeah, man, I mean, you can keep Skelton, you can keep Lazowski and whatnot, Barrington, all these guys, Lamasatelli, you can keep all these guys on the bench. Means that's a pretty strong looking team, and they're going to be pushing. The Racing team is on a similar par in terms of the talent that they've got there. Benarous is there, Gomesar is there, and the two, like each side of the scrum on the pillars, propping it up. Been watching too much Argentinian rugby today. But they've got Russell at 10, Iribarren with that magic try assist last week. He's the number 9. Chauvancy and Vakatawa in the midfield. Vakatawa has been having a pretty phenomenal Champions Cup. Imhoff is there. So, yeah. It's going to be a tough one for them, I think, against the Saracens team away. Saracens are definitely going to be favourites. Racing already through, so less pressure on them. They can go out and have a bit of fun. They've got the likes of Shuzanu, Machino, Trenduk and whatnot on the bench. So I think Racing still need to win to kind of guarantee a home quarter final. But yeah, as I said, pressure's kind of off them for this one. Racing predicted to get beaten by both the bookies and by Rugby Forecast algorithm, and they agree on this one that it's going to be 12 points. So Saracens, 12-point favourites for this one. Their win would see Munster go out, and they'll pretty much be sitting pretty in terms of at least getting an away quarterfinal. But yeah, we'll wait and see how things go with that one. So as I said, it's been a tough pull. The next one, Connacht against Montpellier. Connacht started this Champions Cup campaign well, but it hasn't kind of finished the way they would have wanted, and then Montpellier have been pretty disappointing. Just the one win from 5 games. They've certainly got the big names in the squad. They'll be looking to go out on a high. Connacht have also picked a fairly good-looking team. They're not running out a B team by any means, so yeah, this one could be a fun game in terms of it not being a real pressure one for either team. So this may be the highest scoring one. I guess we'll wait and see. But I mean, you look at the guys on the Montpellier side. You got Gloucester at 15. You got 100 Pollard World Cup winner at number 10. You got Bismarck Duplessis at hooker, Jacques Duplessis at number 8. So there's a fair few South African guys there. Jan Serfontein is there as well. Kamara is there, French international. Number 7, so yeah, they're not looking at the team. They're not looking to just kind of roll over for this last game, even though it doesn't mean all that much. For Connacht, I'm pretty happy that Kieran Marmian's back. I think he's back from injury. He'll have a point to prove after missing out on the Six Nations squad. Jack Carty also at number 10. I believe the reasons he's missed out on selection are different, but still, he'll be looking to have a good game. Aki and Godwin in the midfield. Yep. Don't mind that at all. That's alright. Godwin seems to get shifted a wee bit around from every game that I watch him play for Connacht. Colby Fainga's there. Jared Butler's captain at number 8. So like I said, there's not a whole lot riding on this game. Both teams hopefully throw it around a bit. We get a bit of entertainment, and then they can both focus on their respective domestic campaigns for the remainder of the year with Six Nations. Maybe Six Nations stuff for these players will be a bit of an incentive, but yeah, other than that, not a whole lot going on. And the last one, Toulouse against Gloucester. Toulouse are through. They'll want to keep a perfect record, especially with the final game being at home. Gloucester, I think, are in a spot at the moment where they can go through, but there's any one of, I think, Glasgow, Northampton, or Munster winning before them would see them go out, I believe. I could be mistaken. But either way, Gloucester essentially need to keep their fate within their own hands by getting a win. They're in at the moment. I think the points difference with them and Northampton is pretty much in favour of Gloucester, so that could be a factor for them. But either way, it's a tough ask to go away there and get a win, because Toulouse, Leinster, Exeter, some of these teams are looking pretty fine this year as well. Racing haven't lost the game, so yeah, it's going to be tough. And Toulouse aren't resting on their laurels. They've picked, guys they could have rested. Colby's playing, Intermax playing, Dupont's playing, Ramos there at fullback. Kano has been kind of consistent there in the loose. Arnold, Famuina, Castetzo, Medard's on the bench, Beezy's on the bench. Yeah. They're not going to make it easy for Gloucester. It doesn't get any easier for Gloucester as well, in that Cipriani's out for multiple weeks. I forget how many it was 8 with an injury, which is unfortunate. But they've got a good lineup as well. Reece Sammett's playing. He's had his recent call-up to the Wales squad, so he'll be looking to kind of add to his reputation. Woodward's a fullback. 12 Trees kicked remarkably well last week. He may need to do the same this week if he is the one taking the kicks. Hines captain's at 9. Evans is at 10. Moster's here in the second row. Polledri will need to have a big game. He's a big ball carrier. Ackerman's there at 8. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for them. And they do have Toulouse by 6 on the rugby forecast, and Toulouse by 15 by the bookies. So they're saying Gloucester will probably go out. Gloucester probably should be doing a bit better than they are, because they've had winning positions in this tournament, but not been able to quite convert. I think I forgot to mention for that Montpellier and Connacht game, it's Montpellier by 9 and by 14 according to the algorithm and the bookies, respectively. So, yeah, it should be an interesting morning for me, Monday morning of rugby before I go to work. For you guys, it'll be Sunday evening. So, yeah, it should be a bit of fun. You guys let me know your thoughts. We'll see how the Saturday games go in terms of the results, to see how much of this is still on the line by that point. But, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.